Have you ever stood so close to giving up that quitting felt easier than breathing? I want you to sit with that question for a moment. Not rush past it. Really sit with it. Have you ever felt so tired, so discouraged, so worn down by trying again and again, that a quiet voice inside you whispered, just stop. Just let it go. Maybe this was never meant for you. If that voice has ever visited you, I want you to know something important. Right at the very beginning of our time together, you are not weak for hearing that voice. You are not broken for feeling that exhaustion. You are simply human, standing in a moment that almost every person who has ever achieved anything meaningful has also stood in. That moment right before something changes. That moment nobody shows you in the highlight reels of other people's success. That quiet, heavy, lonely moment where you must decide one more time whether to fold or whether to rise. Today I want to talk to you about persistence. Not the loud, dramatic kind you see in movies, with music swelling in the background. I want to talk about the quiet, everyday kind. The kind that shows up tired. The kind that cries in private and still gets up the next morning. The kind that does not feel powerful in the moment, but slowly, patiently, becomes the very foundation of every real success story ever lived. I want to ask you something gently. Think about anything meaningful you have ever wanted deeply. A dream, a relationship, a skill, a better version of your own life. Now think honestly, has the journey toward that thing ever felt smooth the entire way through? Has it ever unfolded exactly as easily as you once imagined it would? If you are shaking your head right now, even slightly, please know you are not alone. Nobody's journey unfolds in a straight, easy line. Every meaningful path in life curves, dips, and sometimes disappears completely into darkness before it opens up again into light. And so many people, wonderful, capable people, give up exactly in that dark curve, right before the path was about to open again, simply because they could not see what was waiting just beyond it. Let me tell you about a young man I want you to imagine, because his story might feel closer to your own than you expect. He had a dream of starting his own small business. He worked for years saving money, planning carefully, building courage slowly. When he finally opened his small shop, his heart was full of hope. But the first few months were brutal. Customers were few. Bills kept arriving. Some nights he sat alone in his empty shop, wondering if he had made a terrible mistake with his entire life. Every single day, he watched people walk past his shop without even glancing inside. Every single day, he calculated numbers that did not seem to work out, no matter how he arranged them. His family began gently suggesting, out of love and concern, that maybe it was time to let the dream go and find something more stable, more secure. And there were nights, many nights, when he genuinely considered closing the shop forever. Have you ever been there? Standing at the edge of a dream, exhausted, doubting. wondering if continuing is wisdom or simply stubbornness. I want to tell you something important about that exact moment, because it matters more than people realize. That moment right there, exhausted and uncertain, is not a sign that you are failing. See? It is often simply a sign that you are deep inside the process, in the difficult middle section that every worthwhile journey contains. See? The middle is rarely glamorous. The middle is where doubt lives loudest. But the middle is also quietly, patiently, where transformation is actually happening, even when it does not feel like it. This young man, in the middle of his darkest months, made a decision that changed everything, not through some dramatic breakthrough, but through something much smaller and much more human. He decided simply to keep showing up one more day, not forever, not with some grand promise of certainty, just one more day. He told himself, I will open the shop tomorrow too and see what happens. And the next day, he told himself the exact same thing again. Slowly, almost invisibly, things began to shift. A few more customers came. Word began spreading quietly, the way it often does, through simple honesty and consistent effort. It was not a sudden miracle. It was a slow, patient turning, built entirely on those small, tired decisions to show up one more day. Even when giving up would have felt easier, is that not how most real success actually happens? Not through one dramatic moment, but through hundreds of small, quiet decisions to continue, especially on the days when continuing felt hardest. I want you to think about your own life for a moment, gently, honestly. Is there something you have been close to giving up on? Not because it stopped mattering to you, but simply because the difficulty has worn you down? Please know, I am not asking you this to add pressure to your heart. I am asking because I want you to see something important. The fact that it is still difficult does not mean it is impossible. It often simply means you are still in the part of the story where growth is happening quietly, beneath the surface, before it becomes visible on top. Let me share another story with you, one that touched me deeply. There was a woman who dreamed of becoming a singer, not for fame, not for attention, simply because music lived so deeply inside her heart that silence felt unbearable. She auditioned for opportunities again and again, and again she was told no. Not cruel rejections, simply honest ones. Not quite right for this. Maybe try again next time. Each rejection chipped away gently at her confidence, until she began to wonder if perhaps she was simply not talented enough. If perhaps her dream had only ever been a beautiful illusion. After her 20th rejection, she sat in her car outside the audition hall and cried, not just from disappointment, but from exhaustion. The kind of exhaustion that comes from hoping so many times, and having that hope disappointed again and again. She whispered to herself quietly, maybe this is not for me. But that same evening, almost without planning to, she found herself humming a melody while washing dishes, not performing, not auditioning, just singing quietly for herself because it was simply part of who she was. And in that small, ordinary moment, she realized something important. See? Even after 20 rejections, the music inside her had not disappeared. It was still there, patiently waiting, whether the world validated it or not. See? She decided gently to try one more time. Not because she suddenly felt confident again, but because she realized that giving up would not actually take away her love for singing. It would only take away her chance of ever sharing it. And sometimes that quiet realization is enough to carry someone forward, one more attempt at a time. Her 21st audition did not go perfectly either, but something in her had shifted, a quiet resilience that came not from success, but from choosing again and again to return to her passion despite disappointment. Over time, through persistence that had nothing to do with luck and everything to do with refusing to let temporary rejection define her forever, she found her place slowly, patiently in the world of music. I wonder how many small rejections have you faced in your own life? Moments that made you quietly question your own worth or ability. And I wonder gently, what would happen if you saw those moments not as proof that you should stop, but simply as part of the path that every meaningful journey requires. I want to speak honestly about something important, something people rarely say clearly enough. Persistence does not mean feeling motivated and confident every single day. That is a misunderstanding that causes so many people to give up too soon. Real persistence often feels like showing up while doubting yourself completely. It feels like continuing even when you do not feel strong. It feels like taking one more step, not because you are certain of success, but simply because stopping feels worse than continuing. Have you ever admired someone for their strength without realizing that strength rarely feels the way we imagine it? Real strength is not the absence of fear or doubt. It is moving forward gently, honestly, even while carrying that fear and doubt along with you. I want to gently address something that so many people struggle with silently: comparison. In this world of endless information, we constantly see other people's success, polished, finished, celebrated, without ever seeing the long, difficult, often invisible journey that led there. We see the shop finally thriving without seeing the empty, silent months before it. We see the singer finally celebrated without seeing the 20 rejections that came before. And in comparing our raw, difficult beginning to someone else's polished middle or ending, we unfairly convince ourselves that we are failing, when in truth, we are simply earlier in our own story. Can you release even just a little, the pressure of comparing your current chapter to someone else's completed one? Your story has its own timing, its own rhythm, its own beautiful unfolding different from anyone else's. And that difference does not mean you are behind. It simply means you are you. See, I want to tell you about an older man whose story deeply moved me. He spent much of his life believing he had missed his chance at a meaningful career. See, having spent decades in work that never truly fulfilled him. In his late 50s, he discovered a passion for woodworking, almost by accident, while building a simple shelf for his home. Something about shaping wood with his hands brought him a peace he had never known in his previous career. He began learning, slowly, clumsily at first, failing more times than he could count. Broken pieces, wasted material. Projects that simply did not turn out the way he had imagined. Many people around him gently suggested that starting something entirely new at his age was unrealistic, perhaps even a little foolish. But something inside him refused to let go completely. He continued patiently, learning from every mistake instead of being destroyed by it. Slowly, his skills deepened. Slowly, his confidence grew. Years later, his handcrafted furniture became known throughout his community. Not because he was naturally gifted from the very beginning, but because he simply refused to stop learning, refused to stop trying, refused to let his early failures convince him that failure was his final destination. He once said something that stayed with me deeply. He said, I did not become good at this because I was talented. I became good at this because I was too stubborn to quit before I got good. Is that not beautifully honest? So much of what we call talent is actually simply persistence disguised quietly as skill developed over patient, consistent effort. I want you to think gently about something you may have convinced yourself you are simply not good at, when perhaps honestly, you have never given yourself enough consistent time and patient practice to actually become good at it. How many dreams do we abandon too early? Not because we lacked ability, but because we expected mastery before we had given ourselves permission to be a patient, humble beginner. I want to speak now about failure itself, because I believe our relationship with failure often determines whether we persist or give up completely. So many of us were taught quietly throughout our lives that failure is something shameful, something to hide, something that reflects poorly on our worth as a person. But what if failure is not the opposite of success? What if failure is actually a necessary part of success, an essential ingredient, rather than evidence that you do not deserve to succeed? Think about learning to ride a bicycle as a child. Nobody expects a child to ride perfectly on their very first attempt. Falling is simply understood as part of learning. We do not look at a child who has fallen and say, well, I suppose bicycles are simply not meant for you. We say gently, try again, you are getting closer. Why then, as adults, do we treat our own failures so much more harshly than we would ever treat a child's? What if you offered yourself that same gentle patience. 3. The patience you would naturally offer a child learning something new. What if every failure was not proof that you should quit? 3. But simply proof that you are genuinely in the process of learning something meaningful. 3. I want to gently remind you of something important about persistence. It does not mean forcing yourself forward with constant, relentless intensity. 3. Never allowing yourself rest or reflection. True persistence includes moments of pause, moments of honest reassessment. 3. Moments where you gently ask yourself, is this still the right path? Or do I need to adjust my approach while still holding on to my deeper purpose? 3. Persistence is not blind stubbornness. It is committed, thoughtful continuation, adjusting your method when needed. 3. While staying true to your deeper why. Sometimes persistence even means changing direction slightly, not because you are giving up on your dream, 3, but because you are wise enough to find a better path toward the same meaningful destination. Is that not also a form of strength? 3. Knowing when to adjust rather than blindly repeating something that clearly needs adjustment. I also want to talk about the quiet power of small, 3, consistent actions, because so many people believe persistence requires massive, dramatic effort every single day. In truth, 3, persistence is often built through small, almost invisible actions repeated faithfully over time. One more phone call. One more attempt. 3. One more hour of practice. One more honest conversation. These small actions rarely feel significant in the moment they are taken, but layered together, 3, day after day, they quietly become the foundation of extraordinary transformation. Think about water gently wearing down solid stone over many years. 3. No single drop of water appears powerful enough to change something so hard and unmoving. But consistency, patient and unglamorous, 3, eventually reshapes even the hardest surfaces. Your persistence works the very same way. 3. No single day of effort might feel like it is creating massive change. But gathered together over weeks, months and years, 3, those small efforts quietly reshape your entire life. I want to speak honestly about the loneliness that sometimes accompanies persistence. 3. Because I do not want to pretend this journey is always filled with encouragement from others. Sometimes the people around us, 3, even those who love us deeply, may not fully understand our dream. They may gently, even lovingly, suggest that we let it go. 3. Simply because they worry about our well-being, or because they cannot see the vision that lives so vividly inside our own hearts. 3. If you have ever felt alone in your persistence, misunderstood by people who love you but do not fully see your dream, 3, I want you to know that this loneliness does not mean you are wrong to continue. It simply means your vision is uniquely yours. 3. And not everyone will be able to see it as clearly as you do until it becomes real enough for them to witness for themselves. 3. Can you continue trusting your own quiet inner voice even when others around you cannot yet see what you see? 3. I want to gently address something important about self-forgiveness within this journey of persistence. There will be days, 3, and this is completely normal, when you do give up temporarily. Days when exhaustion wins. Days when you simply cannot find the strength to continue. 3. I want you to know clearly and compassionately that these days do not erase your persistence. They are simply part of being human. 3. What matters most is not that you never stumble, but that you gently, patiently find your way back again and again. 3. Without harsh self-punishment for the days you needed rest. Buttressment is not a straight, unbroken line. It is a path with pauses, with rest, 3, with moments of doubt, all woven together with a deeper, quiet commitment to eventually return, no matter how many times you needed to step away. 3. As we come closer to the end of our time together, I want to gently remind you of something deeply important. Every single person you admire, 3. Every person whose success moves you, whose story inspires you, once stood exactly where you are standing right now. Uncertain, tired, 3. Wondering if continuing was worth the difficulty. 3. The difference between those who eventually succeed and those who quietly give up completely is rarely talent, rarely luck, rarely even circumstance. See, the difference is simply this. They kept returning gently, patiently, one more time, even when returning felt impossibly hard. See, you have that same quiet strength inside you right now, in this very moment. Not someday when things become easier. Not someday, 3, when you feel more confident. Right now, exactly as you are, carrying exactly the dream and the difficulty you are currently facing. 3. I want you to think about who you could become 1 year from now, 5 years from now, if you simply continued gently, patiently, 3, choosing one more day of effort again and again, even through the difficult middle, even through moments of doubt, even through quiet, 3, private tears that nobody else needs to see. Every difficult season you are walking through right now will not last forever. 3. Every dark curve in your path eventually opens up into light, even when you cannot yet see that light from where you are currently standing. See, your persistence, quiet and unglamorous as it may feel, is slowly, faithfully building the very success you have been dreaming about. 3. So here is what I gently ask of you today. Do not decide right now whether you will succeed or fail. That decision is not yours to make in advance. 3. Simply decide gently to take one more step today, one more attempt, one more honest effort, however small it may feel. And when tomorrow comes, 3, decide again gently to take one more step. You are not too far behind. You are not too tired to continue. You are not too old, too late, 3, or too unqualified to keep going. Your dream has been patiently waiting for you to simply continue believing in it, one more day at a time. 3. So take that one more step today. Not because success is guaranteed, but because you deserve to discover what your persistence, gentle and consistent, 3, is truly capable of creating in your life. And remember, my friend, always that every incredible success story you have ever admired was built quietly, patiently, by someone who simply refused to stop. One more day, one more attempt, one more brave, tired, beautiful step forward at a time.